Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel Book Talks with Yo. My name is Yoanna and today I'm sharing with you few books that will make you smile. How are you everyone? I really hope you're all having a great time, you're all feeling good and are having a fantastic week. Here in Scotland it has been murky and stormy and rainy and gloomy for the past 10 days, and really hope where you are you have more sunny days. But this weather here is really starting to drag me down on some days, and even if you do have sunny days and you're lucky to have a good weather right now, something else might be weighing you down. So today I decided to share with you a few books that I think will just make you smile while you're reading them. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, first up we have a romantic book that I absolutely loved and couldn't stop smiling the whole time I was reading this book. And this is Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Warren. I read this book, I think it was last year, and I finished it for like a day or two because it was that good. And I liked the romantic story of it, like the romantic plot, the romantic part of the book was great. It was rather original, but what I absolutely loved about this book and what made me smile the whole time were the characters. We have Hazel, who is this free-spirited, outgoing, confident girl who has this army of pets. She actually had so many very different pets. I can't remember exactly what now, but there were a lot, and not only the pets you think of like dogs and cats, it was everything. And most of the men in her life previously had made her think that she's too much to handle, like she's too much trouble, she's too free-spirited for them in a way. So when Josh M., whom she had known since she was in college, I think, comes back into her life, she is kind of afraid not to ruin their friendship. And they actually haven't seen each other for 10 years, and they slowly form this really lovable friendship. Really, it's a great friendship they form, and they start setting each other up on those double blind dates because they want to help each other find someone special. However, those dates turn out to be a disaster, like a real disaster, and it's just so fun to read about them. Like, they are hilarious. And just both characters have those really lovable personalities. And the romantic part is good, the banter is great. I think it's my most favorite in any romantic book I've read so far. So I highly recommend it if you want a quick, breezy read. Okay, next we have a book I've recently read, and this is Anxious People by Frederick Backman. I think this book came out sometime during autumn last year of 2020, and I'm actually surprised not that many people are talking about it because it's amazing. We all know that Backman's novels are very unique and original and just captivating, so this one doesn't fail to impress. We have an interesting plot, a very messy but interesting plot. We have quirky characters who really come out from the page when you're reading them. You have a very interesting, not only banter in the romantic sense of it, but just the dialogue between the characters is great. We have thought-provoking life lessons, we have funny moments, we have everything in this book, and it will just make you laugh and smile and just think about it long after you close the book. And let me just tell you that the opening sentence, I think the very opening sentence is, the story is about a lot of things, but most importantly, it's about idiots. So I promise you, you will laugh from page 1. And this book, it's really hard to describe what the plot is really about, and I think this is one of Backman's ideas. But let's say that on the surface, this book is about a failed bank robbery, but it's really about much more, and the book won't stop surprising you until the very last page, the very last sentence. I was surprised the whole time, and this is one of the greatest things in this novel. And just Backman creates those really authentic, unique, and just very interesting characters. I admire him a lot for this, and this novel just made me think about all those characters, and there were a lot of characters here, and they just come out as living people that you know and you hear their stories. So yeah, it's a very good book. I listened to the audiobook, so I would recommend listening to that as well. But yeah, I would like to reread it, although I finished it like 2 weeks ago or something like this. So yeah, it's a highly recommended one. Next book is A Ditch's Deal by Tessa Dare. This was actually the first book by her I read, and this is the first book in her series Girl Meets Duke. I haven't read the other books in this series, but I really want to, and hopefully I will soon. But I'm currently reading another book by her, which is When a Scot Ties the Knot. And it's going great so far. I'm not that much into it yet, but yeah, it's great. So I'm sure I'm loving her style. But this was my first Regency romance as well when I read it, and I just fell in love with this subgenre. So pretty much what what this particular book is about is the Duke of Ashbury. We have the Duke of Ashbury, who has been leading a very secluded lifestyle ever since he came back from war. He doesn't like meeting people. He enjoys his late evening strolls around the place he lives. But everything changes when he has to find an heir. He has to have an heir, so therefore he has to find a wife. And he was to be wedded with a particular woman, but she got scared by his scar. Well, like, not exactly scared, she got appalled by it. So he needs to desperately find a new woman, and at that moment, in his library appears this seamstress, Emma Gladstone, who is conveniently dressed into a wedding gown, so there is nothing more for him to just propose a deal. And he has all those rules like no lights, no kissing, like no lovey-dovey stuff. And his last rule is that when she is with a child, they're never to bed again and not just act like husband and wife. This is a marriage of convenience or something like this. But she's also a stubborn one and has her own rules, like she wants to have dinner together every night and talk. And the relationship that forms between them is adorable, and they're both very stubborn, and it's funny to read about them. And we also have all those lovely side characters. We have Lady Penelope, I think, Nicola and Alexandra, I think were their names, but I might be mistaken. It's been some time since I read it. But yeah, those characters, their friendship that forms between the four women, and just their unique personalities. Every one of them has their own quirks, and it's just awesome to read about them. It was just made me smile through the whole time, and it's just a book that it will charm you and will transport you to a different place and different time. Next up, we have With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book was just one of the most charming things I've ever read. We have Emoni, who is a teenage mom, and she's living with her daughter and her abuela, who helps her with everything she can, pretty much. And what Emoni loves the most, apart from her daughter of course, is cooking. The kitchen is honestly where she feels alive, where she feels herself, and she's dreaming of being a chef and working in a real kitchen one day. And although she knows that she doesn't really have the time for this, she signs up for the culinary arts class in her college or her school. I don't remember, I think it was school. So yeah, she signs up for this class and she starts dreaming about the school's, like the class trip to Spain. Although she knows that she can't really afford this. But actually in this class is where she meets this boy, this sweet soul Malachi, who is he is just so adorable. He makes you love him from the very first time we hear about him. And this actually applies to all of the characters in this book. Like, you can't help but love them all. And while I was reading them, I just wanted to get inside this book and hug them all, because they're all adorable and so cute. And just, it's a book that will make you smile through the whole time. It's just a very, well, I wouldn't say it's a breezy read, but it's just a book that will make you smile, pretty much. And what is more, Emoni is sharing her recipes throughout the book, which I think made it so original and so vibrant. Like, I can swear you can feel, you can taste, you can smell the things she's cooking, because they're so well described, and she's giving you the recipe so you can try cooking something as well. I didn't try it back then because I wasn't that much into cooking yet, but I think I'll go back and try something. That may be a video idea for later. But yeah, this is a very, very sweet book that will make you smile and dream. Next up is a very small graphic novel called Nimono by Noel Stevenson. This was, I think, the first or second graphic novel I've read, and I loved every second of it. This is a very, very quick read, and it's so fun. It will make you smile the whole time you're reading it. You will laugh, you will smile. It's just great. And we have Nimona, who is this very unpredictable, hot-headed girl that decides that she wants to be a villain. And we also have this Lord Ballister Blackheart, not sure about his name, but he is a villain with a vendetta. And she decides to be his sidekick. Nimona decides to be his sidekick, and they both get themselves into those hilarious adventures and situations that will just make you laugh and roll your eyes giggling. And the thing that their mission is to prove to the whole kingdom that this knight, Sir Goldthorn or something like this, and his buddies from the Institute of Law Enforcement and Heroics are not the heroes that the world thinks them to be. And just the situations that they get themselves involved in are really, really fun, and it's a quick read. You can probably read it in one afternoon, and if it's a rainy afternoon or a cold day, just snuggle up on the couch, get this graphic novel, and I promise it will make you smile. The next book is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I read this book last year, and I wasn't really sure about including it in this video because some parts actually made me sob in this one, but at the same time other parts they just filled my heart and made me smile. So read this at your own risk if you want a book that will make you smile. But what this book is pretty much about, we have Eleanor Oliphant, who is this young woman who is really struggling with her social skills. She is very polite, but she is rather blunt and really says everything she's thinking out loud, like all the time. And she's leading this very rather repetitive and carefully structured life until she meets Raymond, the chatty IT guy who has to repair her computer. And after they save the life of this lovely elderly gentleman, Sammy, they get closer and closer and start getting lunch together and talking about life. And although they are two very, very different characters, they have very different personalities, they actually find things in common and help each other be happy. And yeah, it was just a very different book from what I've read before, but it's still a warm and uplifting one that will make you think about a lot of things now that I think about it. And yeah, the characters are great. It's just it's like nothing I've read before, but as I said, some parts were rather disturbing and emotional. So yeah, but it's still a very worth reading, so if you want, check it out. And last but definitely not least is actually a book I haven't read yet, but I'm so sure that if I had read it, it would make its way to this list. And this is The Trials of Apollo by no other than Rick Riordan. I have loved the other two series I read by him. This is Percy Jackson and the Olympians and the Heroes of Olympus. And this really makes me feel that I would love this series as well. I think there are 5 books in this one again, and that the first one is called The Hidden Oracle. And in it, we see Apollo, who we know from the previous 2 series, and he's actually punished by his father Zeus and is sent to Earth as a normal teenage boy in New York. And from the previous 2 series, we know him as a very narcissistic and just a hilarious character. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to deal with his new life and all the differences that he will have to face. So yeah, and as I said, I haven't read it yet, but something about it, just, you know, we have the Greek gods, we have Rick Riordan. It just makes me think and believe that this is going to be a fun read. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. I really hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did, Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on my new videos. Please let me know down in the comments if you've read any of those books and what are your thoughts on them. Or please leave any other recommendations for books that you think can make you smile. Thank you once more for watching, and I really hope to see you all next time. Until then, have a smiley week. Bye!